My friend, I fear that at this late hour no one is facing anyone in a commander match. What is that? A locket? Oh, so you're one of us. Follow me. Welcome to Neo Royal House of Pricey Cardboard and to our first deck primer video. Tonight we will be looking at a commander that is versatile, fun to play, and powerful. Pay respect, mortal, to the Scarab god. This legendary creature is a 5/5 for 3 generic mana, a blue and a black. It reads, at the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses X life and you scry X, where X is the number of zombies you control. This will be one of our win cons, but also a great tool to smooth out our draws. For 2 blue-black, exile target creature card from a graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. So the creature keeps all of its abilities while changing its typing, color, and stats. This ability can be used offensively or defensively by exiling key cards from our opponent's graveyards. And finally, when the Scarab god dies, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step, dodging the commander attacks most of the time. The list I will be presenting you does not contain infinite loops or extreme fast mana, but is still very powerful in a non-CDH environment. The classic way of winning with this deck will be to amass enough zombies to make our upkeep ability kill everyone in a couple of turns. By selecting cards to put in our graveyard, we can get reduction on powerful creature or great enter the battlefield effects. Entomb and Buried Alive will help us get the good corpses in our graveyard to be brought back as 4/4 zombies. Baleful Strix, Solemn Simulacrum, and CDC Undead Vizier are good value pick, as they can help us ramp, draw, or fetch cards from our deck. Wonder can be a lifesaver facing strong flying deck, or the end of our enemies if they cannot fly. While not in this list, Filth could be a good addition depending on your playgroup. But it's not all about value, my friend. Oh no, we want zombies, as in multiple, to overwhelm our enemies. This is where Newsgraph Mob and Grave Titan comes in handy. By paying only 4 mana to bring them back from the graveyard, they give us 3 and 5 zombies for our upkeep trigger. In later turn, Rot-Alt can do the same, but instead of 3 additional 2/2 zombies, you could get more powerful minions from your graveyard. Diregraph mobs help turn each of our cast into double dead value, and Goldcollar Gisa can turn a reasonable board into a mess of bodies in only a couple of turns. In a likely manner, Endless Ranks of the Dead is a bit slower, but can get more explosive when it gets going. Its enchantment typing also makes it harder to remove. And finally, for Army Maker, Avengo Lich can be used as a replacement to our commander ability to not exile the card in our graveyard and possibly repeat it multiple times. Josu Ves can become a real problem if not dealt with, when an Avengo Lich can recast it every turn with 8 additional zombie. There's also this little card, maybe you've heard of it, Grey Merchant of Asphodel. I do not think I need to extend more on the power of this card. I know what you are thinking. What do I do if my opponent has multiple 3/3s? Won't my board be useless? Do not fear, my friend, because here comes the lords of this beautiful massacre. Each of them bringing a little special threat to the mix. Like the smell of blood, these leaders will turn our stance from a defensive, strategic position to full-on attacking and kicking player out of the game. Keep in mind that all of these buffs will apply to the 4/4 our commander creates, making them even deadlier. If raw violence and combat damage is not an option, we can switch our strategy to being more defensive. The life being lost for our opponents means that it's really hard to prevent. with these little gems or upkeep, or should I say upkeep's trigger, will bring everyone to their knees. Paradox Says gives us an additional upkeep, Sekeshima an additional commander, Training Ground makes it really easy to create our 4/4 zombies by paying only the colors on our ability cost, and finally, Arcane Adaptation will make sure that every creature on our side of the field can participate in this X ability. I'm running Propaganda, not for any flavor reason, but because it is really powerful. If you haven't played with a prison type card on your side of the field, you cannot even imagine how much damage it saves you. Not in this list, Spark Double could be a great addition to this deck as a replacement for Sekeshima or another card of this type. Now that you know what your deck can do on its own, take your grasp and extend it to every graveyard in the game. Mindcrank and Windfall, two of my favorites cards, will bring your opponents to despair as their Vorinclex falls at the tip of your finger. Doom Whisperer for yourself and Geth for them. We will also be running Carrion Feeder and Altar of Dementia to make sure the third ability of our commander does not get dismissed into exile. While not completely impossible, you won't really be able to kill the table with milling. Our commander brings us very good card selection by scrying multiple cards, but in case we will run out of gas, these cards will help us keep our hand full. Herald's Horn and Twilight Prophet will make great use of our scrying ability by making sure that you get the most of your top decks. Crypt Breaker is really an all-star at one single black mana, drawing cards, discarding ICMC creatures, and creating zombie tokens. If the other mere mortals try something that displease you, you will be running some answers, of course. A bouquet of counter spells for any situation, some versatile target removal, as well as board wipes. Ugin, Steel Elkite, and Meteor Golem can hit non-land permanents, while Hostage Taker focus creatures and artifacts. It's still pretty good for blue and black. Not too long ago, the options were very limited in these colors. Ashiok is an amazing card from War of the Spark. It can grant you the edge to compete with the ramping green decks while packing a Mass Exile if your commander's second ability can seem to clean the graveyards quickly enough. As for ourselves, we will be running some artifacts to help us go faster, as well as a Crypt Breaker for extra value that we can get from our hand or graveyard. Sword of Feast and Famine is extremely powerful and will bring our commander to a 7/7 with evasion, which can help against healing deck if you ever face one. Now to the mana base. I am a big fan of multicolored lands and do not play around Blood Moon. If one of your player is playing Blood Moon, maybe taking some draws out for basic could help you. It's also cheaper, so win for you. Malice runs 3 basic islands and 5 basic swamps. Almost every dual color land beside the fast land of Kaladesh and the original dual land. We then add an Urborg and Cabal package with Deserted Temple and Nykthos Shrine of Nyx. These lands will help us get a lot of mana quickly and get into the most powerful turns. We also have a Field of the Dead package, including one of each snow-covered basic for more additional land name. And finally, some utility land. To help with the consistency, we will be running Tolaria West, as well as an expedition map to help get the missing piece of our little package together on the battlefield. Are you still with me, friend? I've kept the best for the end. These powerful spells will make sure to close out the match for you. Lich Lord of Hunks does everything we want to be doing, an additional zombie every turn and a finisher for low health opponent, which mills them. Temporal Mastery is really strong with the big scries, putting it on top of the deck for a 2 mana miracle extra turn. Wound Reflection will double anything that you have done since the beginning of the turn, like, an upkeep trigger maybe, and Rooftop Storm will either make you drop your hand on the table or get into loops with Avengal Lich and you know who. This brings us to the end of the video. If you liked it, subscribe and like this video to keep in touch. May your secrets stay exactly this, secret. Happy Halloween.